Third element under critical thinking is listening. Now, the important indicator under listening is if you're able to ask meaningful questions. Why? Because you won't be able to ask important questions or meaningful questions if you fail to listen to the other person. So in other words, if for instance your girlfriend was asking you that it's very uneasy or uncomfortable for her to see you with your ex, then you should be able to ask related questions on it. It is only by this particular indicator, asking important questions. Ibig sabihin, if you're able to impose questions related to the situation, it only suggests and imply that you are actually listening. That this is active listening. Now, the reason why it's called active because there's a participation coming from the listener dun sa listener towards to the one who is saying the situation. Again, listening should be active listening. Now, the indicator for active listening is for the listener to be able to ask questions to the person who is saying the problem or the statements. That's active listening. Under active listening, we have other indicators as well. By asking important questions, you are establishing rapport and trust with your partner. Ibig sabihin, pag nagtatanong ka ng relevant questions dun sa partner mo, ibig sabihin nun, you are establishing her trust kasi alam mo yung situation niya. This is why you are able to demonstrate your concern. So you value the feelings and emotions of your partner because you are able to ask questions. And by providing questions, you're able to clarify and asking specific question. You're able to clarify and understand the situation of the people or of your partner in terms of conversing with them. So, nalalaman mo ngayon, hindi yung nag-a-assume ka lang na it's okay with your partner to continue your friendship with your ex. The number one problem of critical thinking is to assume something without any basis at all. Now, the basis for something to pursue is the action should be supported with some evidence. And then the evidence that would suggest that you have at hand will be the indicator coming from your partner. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Kung itutuloy mo yung relationship mo with your ex and then without any explanation or conversation coming to your present girlfriend, in effect, you would just assume. And by just assuming, it will become problematic because you will be clueless on what would be the feelings, consequential feelings that may occur with your partner. That is why it's very important to ask relevant questions before doing something. If it is uncertain, kasi nga problematic, if it's something dubious, if you're in doubt, try to ask meaningful questions. And by asking meaningful questions, again, nabibigyan ka ng clarification. Doon mo nauunawaan ng maigi kung ano yung necessary from your first element, kung ano yung necessary sa unnecessary. And your information will be supplemented. If the information that you got in your research is not enough, by asking relevant questions, your information that you gathered there on the second element will be supplemented. That's the number one indicator for listening. Yun yung mabibigay sa yun, supplemental information of listening. Next will be explanation. For listening, the important component that we should remember here is to ask. If you're able to ask, that means you're listening. For explanation, keyword for explanation will be the consequences. So when you say when we say explanation, this is part of listening as well. Kasi let's say two people are conversing, someone is stating some facts and someone is listening. The person who is stating the facts is doing the explanation. So these are a set of statements that are factual. When we say factual, it has a basis in reality. The facts that are being stated clarifies the causes. Ano yung pinagmulan? Bakit ko? Why did I start my relationship or my friendship with my ex? What will be the context? Yung context, ibig sabihin, if I start to continue my relationship with my ex, will that involve romantic friendship again? Or just plain friendship lang? So kung plain friendship ba yan, do I allow my ex at least touch my hand and arms? Pwede ba yun? So ano magiging consequence ito? With my ex, with myself, and with my partner. So these are potential factual instances that may happen if you're going to consider the case of having a relationship or having a friendly relationship with your ex, to the point na meron ka ng current relationship. Now, that's part of the explanation. Ang end goal of explanation is the potential consequence of your decision or your action. So again, when you say explanation, it can be part of listening kasi under listening, you ask questions, and then if you're going to ask questions, you also explain. So dalawang individuals involved. Someone who is stating the facts, this is person A, and then the person B is someone who's listening. Now, if person A is able to state the factual statements, that means person B is listening. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung nag-explain, sinasabi niya yung cause ng kanyang emotions, yung context ng kanyang emotions, and then yung consequence ng kanyang emotions. And then after listening, person B, ikaw na to si boyfriend, person B now is given the opportunity to explain his side. So, ganun din. Ano yung cause? Bakit ko sinimulan ulit yung friendship with my ex? Anong context to? Friends lang ba? Anong consequence ito sa ating current relationship and my relationship with my ex? These are some important keywords that we should remember under explanation. After explanation is the flexibility. When we say flexibility here, it's your ability to adapt. What do you mean by adapt? Adapt to changes. This is adaptability. That's flexibility. Two important keywords that we should remember under flexibility is your adaptability to change which comes to you as a new phase in your life. Let's go back to the situation that I gave a while ago. If I'm going to pursue my relationship with my ex, is this something new? Would this change my life? Will this change my relationship as well with my current girlfriend? Can I still continue if I try to change my present relationship with my girlfriend? Should this open a new way for us, for me and my girlfriend, to achieve a flawless relationship with my present girlfriend? Magkakaroon ba ng flawless o magiging convenient ba sa aming dalawa if I'm going to start a new friendly relationship with my ex? Will my partner as well be adaptable to this kind of change? We explore possibilities. Under flexibility, we explore possibilities. These possibilities are new opportunities, alternate viewpoints, and consider various solutions. If I consider having a friendly relationship with my ex, will my girlfriend be flexible with this? Will this kind of solution be an opportunity for us to make our relationship for the better? So, ibig sabihin, again, this is adaptability. Okay lang ba? Okay lang ba sa girlfriend ko na maging friend yung ex ko? Kung hindi, dapat I should also be open to change. Change, ibig sabihin, I should revise, change my plan. I should, if I value my present girlfriend over my ex, I should also be adaptable to revision so that I could meet my end goal, my conclusion for the specific problem. That's the keyword for flexibility, yung adaptability to change and revise that that which has been already considered as something stable. So kung meron ng stable statement, ito na yung tinatanggap before. It's a belief or value which has been accepted before, and then you realize that this belief should be revised, then you should also be open to change that such belief para ma-meet mo yung end objective mo, to meet your conclusion. That's flexibility. The sixth element under critical thinking is fairness in thinking. Now, when I say the keyword under fairness in thinking is to be impartial. Impartial in thoughts, when we say impartial in thoughts, it should be free from biases and then preconceptions. So when we say preconceptions, ito yung mga ideas na nabuo bago mo ma-achieve yung isang bagay. So these are stereotypical views that may distort or destroy our way of thoughts. So again, the impartial thoughts that you have, the biases that you have, the preconceived ideas that you have can destroy your thoughts. Saan nanggaling tong impartial thoughts? Saan nanggaling tong biases? Saan nanggaling tong preconceptions? These are stereotypical views that were formed from your past experiences. From your past experiences, from traditions. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung nabuo before, from the past, na dinadala mo pa rin hanggang ngayon. So, ibig sabihin ito, kung masama, let's say we use the idea of friendship. Okay, my main goal is to maintain friendship. If you are influenced, again, if you are influenced by preconceived ideas, when we say preconceived ideas, ito yung mga ideas na nabuo from your past experiences. If your thoughts are influenced by these preconceived ideas that it's okay to maintain friendship with your ex, ibig sabihin nun, your thoughts are impartial. Kasi you are not making your own thoughts, but your thoughts are being influenced by preconceived or past experiences. Now, to be fair, you should be able to separate your ideas, your thoughts from these preconceived ideas. So, ibig sabihin, if you're going to continue your friendship with your ex, this must not be influenced by your past experiences. Hindi dapat ito na-influensyahan. Ginawa mo ito hindi dahil sa na-influensyahan ka ng pressure ng barkada mo. Hindi dahil sa na-influensyahan ka ng thoughts from your past. That's the keyword for fairness. So, ibig sabihin, if you're going to decide on something, if you're going to make a decision about something, in order for it to be fair, it has to be free from biases. And it can only be free from any biases if your decision is not based from the past. Now, paano mo magagawang fair yun? Babalik ka ulit sa first important element ng critical thinking, which is analysis. And then, balik ka ulit sa second, research. And then, so on and so forth. Hanggang sa makita mo, and then ikaw lang naman makakapagsabi kung impartial yung thoughts na yun. Like for this instance, anong preconceived idea ng teacher na to dito sa batang to? Now, ang preconceived idea ng teacher na to dito sa batang to, the child here is an Asian. So, ibig sabihin, kung Asian ka, if you're living in America, merong preconceived idea, merong idea na nabuo from the past that Asians, generally speaking, are good in math. Or sila yung mga nerds. Ito yung stereotypical attitude na nabuo mo from the past. So, nagkakaroon ka ng generalization na lahat ng Asians dapat magaling sa math. So, if one Asian student is not good in math, it can distort or destroy your way of thought. So, yun yung ibig sabihin ng fairness in thinking. Dapat wala kang preconceived ideas if you're going to make a decision about something else. If you're going to resolve a problem, a specific problem. That's fairness in thinking. Next element found in critical thinking is objective thinking. Now, objective thinking is best understood if you're going to compare objective thinking with subjective thinking. Pag sinabi nating subjective thinking, the thoughts are mainly dependent on the concept or construction of the I or the self. Ibig sabihin nito, medyo relative yung pangunawa mo dun lang sa nakaka-perceive ng specific object. This is subjective thinking. So pag sinabi ko sa inyo ngayon na itong taong to ay pogi na, tapos mukhang heartthrob, mukhang campus crush, am I being objective or subjective? If I'm being subjective, that means that I'm basing my conclusion mainly on the I. So ibig sabihin, if it is my thoughts are dependent on the I or the self, I do not describe the object in accordance to the dearness of the reality. So ibig sabihin nito, ang nakakaunawa lang na campus crush ang itsura ng lalaking to, na pogi to, ay ako lang, the I. So ibig sabihin, I cannot have the same answers as how others view this particular person. This is being subjective. So ibig sabihin, pag subjective ako, nagiging bias ako at nagiging presumptuous yung aking idea. So this is subjective. Now if I'm going to examine these three individuals here who are looking the three, sino ang subjective, sino ang objective? This is objective reality. When I say objective reality, lahat ng tao, if I'm going to describe this object in front of you, lahat tayo will have the same answer. Ibig sabihin, the upper portion of this object is green, the lower portion of this object is brown. This is objective reality. I'm describing reality based on the there-ness, yung pagiging nandyan. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng there-ness of reality. Nandyan yan, and then we just describe it as it is, as given to us by reality. So I'm describing reality as it is. I'm being objective. Now if I'm being subjective, ang nakikita ko dito ngayon, ito kulay red, ito kulay blue. I'm being subjective. So, ibig sabihin, pag sinabi kong pogi to, campus crush to, tas kamukha to ni John Lloyd, am I being objective or subjective? In this case, if I cannot if my answer is different from you, it only means that I'm being subjective. Pero if your answer is similar to majority of the people around you, that means you're being objective. So ibig sabihin, yung pag-iisip mo is unbiased because you're just describing the object as it is. In this case, we're avoiding assumptions and speculations. When we say speculation sa Tagalog, yung haka-haka o yung it's kind of thought without any basis at all. That's objective thinking. So it's somehow similar to fairness in thinking. You know, if I'm being fair in thinking, that means I'm also objective. If I'm objective, my thoughts will be impartial. Hindi siya na-influensya ng traditions, ng institutions, ng religion, or ng any kind of authority. So I'm describing reality as it is. I'm being objective. That's objective thinking. So if I'm going to pursue my relationship with my ex, am I being objective or subjective? Is it free from speculations, or am I just basing my decision based on my gratification ng sarili kong, kasi mas convenient para sa akin na magkaroon ng dalawang kaibigan na babae. Na-maintain ko yung relationship ko with my ex, then na-maintain ko ulit yung isang relationship ko sa isang babae. Am I being subjective or objective? Now, paano naman yung nararamdaman na I ng girlfriend ko? Now, if I consider the I of my girlfriend, yung self na tinatawag ng girlfriend ko, yung emotions sa pwede kong masaktan. If I consider that, I'm being objective. Kasi hindi lang sarili yung iniisip ko. So, ibig sabihin, my way of thought now is unbiased. Let's go to the last element under critical thinking. It's evaluation. So, under evaluation, the keyword here is we try to create our own criteria based from the steps that we follow under the critical thinking. Those elements that we found under critical thinking. So from analysis to objective thinking, we now conclude and create our own set of standards. Ito yung standards na hindi na siya preconceived, hindi na siya bias. So in order for us to meet our own end, meet or solve our problem, ang problema natin okay lang ba sa ipagpatuloy yung relationship ko with my ex kahit na meron na akong girlfriend. Now, after undergoing the different elements under critical thinking from number 1 to number 7, from analysis to objective thinking, I now create a set of criteria, a set of standards. So, ibig sabihin, I can quantify my decision making, my judgment, if it's okay or not to continue my relationship with my ex while having my girlfriend. This is evaluation. So, I try to weigh if my decision making is good or not. If the decision that I'm going to make would be valuable to my girlfriend or not. Will it be valuable with my with my ex or not? Now I set standards. I have to decide and create standards. Now after creating standards, magkakaroon nga ngayon ng checklist. By creating your own checklist, itong dapat gawin, itong hindi dapat gawin, that is evaluation. So ang keyword under evaluation is your ability to create standards. After undergoing steps 1, or not steps but the elements or components that you found under the critical thinking. So hindi mo magagawa tong standards without undergoing yourself from the preceding components and elements that you found under critical thinking. Kasi kung bigla kang nag-jump kaagad dito sa evaluation, yung standards na makikreate mo will be subjective. Kung subjective yan, magiging bias yan. Kung magiging bias yan, obviously, mas lalong lalala, hindi mo mararating yung goal mo. Hindi masosolve yung problem mo. That's the problem if you're not going to be careful, in making decisions, if you're not going to employ critical thinking. So, let's review. Ano bang meron ulit under critical thinking? First, analysis. Analysis yung saging, necessary and then unnecessary. Research, you search again for information that would help to identify what's necessary and then unnecessary. Listening here is active listening. You can only listen if you know how to ask meaningful questions. Now, you can only ask meaningful questions kung makikinig ka. That's listening. So, listening here, if you're able to listen, again, yung information na pwede mo makuha from the one who's stating the facts can be used for research, and then you can use that for analysis. Malalaman mo ngayon kung anong necessary again and then unnecessary. Explanation can be connected with listening. For explanation, ibig sabihin ng explanation, 3 important keywords under explanation is you're able to create the causes and then the effects. Yung causes nun is connected with the consequences. Saan nanggaling, sa anong simula, tapos ano yung magiging epekto. Tapos, ano yung magiging konteksto. Konteksto, ibig sabihin ng konteksto, is it applicable to the actual situation? Ibig sabihin ng konteksto, anong klaseng friendship ang gusto mong buuin sa ex mo? Kung meron ka nang friendship na buo sa present girlfriend mo. So, ibig sabihin, if we're talking about the context of friendship, hindi pa ba sapat ang friendship na nakuha mo sa girlfriend mo? Na kailangan pang punuan ito ng ex mo. That's the context. If we're talking about friendship. So, when we try to examine the context, we try to also search the meaning of what friendship is. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng konteksto. And then, doon mo na malalaman kung flexible ka. So, ibig sabihin, when we say flexible, ibig sabihin you're you're open to accept the changes, the new changes. Andun yung two important keywords, new and then the change. Are you willing to embrace those new changes that you experience from analysis, research, listening, and then explanation? That's flexibility or adaptability. Ang keyword for flexibility is your openness to accept and embrace the new things that may come your way. After flexibility, punta tayo sa fairness. Fairness is similar to objectivity. Fairness in thinking, ibig sabihin nito, it's unbiased thinking. Free from preconceived ideas. That's the only way wherein you will be fair. Ibig sabihin nito, try not to influence your thoughts by those things that were made by traditions. Kasi pag na-influensyan ka agad yung decision making mo because of traditions, you're not being fair. So when I say, if I'm not going to pursue my relationship with my present girlfriend because of her religion, for instance, ang religion is Iglesia ni Cristo, tapos ang religion ko is Katoliko, your thoughts are being influenced by traditions. Mas importante ba? Mas bibigyan mo ba ng interest ang religion over dun sa pagkatao ng girlfriend mo? Kaya mo bang makita ang sarili mo na after 10 years hindi mo napakasalan yung babaeng mahal mo dahil lang sa traditions, dahil lang sa sinasabi ng religion? Are you being fair with the love of your life? That's being fair. Ito tayo sa objectivity. Again, objectivity is somewhat connected with fairness. Kasi under objectivity here, ang dinidescribe mo na under objectivity is the dareness of the reality. If you try to describe the dareness of the reality, you base your conclusion, your factual statements, not on the self, but on what being thrown to you by the reality. Kung may nakita kang, kung nakikita mo yung ulap na puti, it should conform to other people's perception as well. At dapat lahat ng tao sa paligid mo, yung ulap na nakikita nyo ay dapat kulay puti at hindi kulay black or kulay green or kung anong mang kulay. That's being objective. Now, if you're being objective, that means you're being fair as well. Now, after undergoing these different components or elements under critical thinking, now you evaluate. You set your standards. The standards should be based from these preceding components. Kasi kung bigla kang mag-jump ka agad ng evaluation without considering the 7 preceding components, your evaluation, the conclusion will be biased and prejudicial to your solution, to your answer. Again, I think evaluation should be the last part that you should create if you're going to employ critical thinking. Keyword for evaluation are the standards. May checklist ka na. Okay ba to? After undergoing objectivity, fairness, flexibility, explanation, listening, research, analysis, you set your standards. Standards based on the preceding components of critical thinking. After critical thinking, let's now discuss elements of creativity. Kung critical thinking, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 components. Under creativity, I'm just going to discuss 4 components. These 4 components, the description that you can find, the different definitions, descriptions, examples that you can find in your handouts can be compressed in these 4 elements of creativity. Now, the example that I'm going to use here is this one. Yung magpapaalam ka. Pwedeng magpapaalam ka sa magulang mo dahil lalabas ka, or magpapaalam ka sa girlfriend mo, or magpapaalam ka sa boyfriend mo dahil lalabas ka. Magpapaalam ka pero hindi ka pinayagan. You're asking permission to go out, but you were not allowed to go out because of some different or various reasons. So again, the example that I'm going to use is use this to describe the elements of creativity is the example of asking permission. It could be from your parents, from any authority, or from your girlfriend. So i-restrict lang natin sa dalawa, magulang or sa girlfriend. Magpapaalam ka, and then since hindi ka pinayagan, you were not allowed to go out, gagawa ka ngayon ng other ways. So may problem ka, hindi ka pinayagan. Sarado na ba? Hindi ka pinayagan. Yan na ba yung final, yan na ba yung end? Yan na ba yung final solution for that? Now, if you're creative, merong 4 na elemento. Fluency, yung flow ng creativity, pwedeng ganito. From fluency to flexibility to elaboration, and fluency again, and then originality. Or pwedeng fluency, flexibility, originality, and then elaboration. So that's how it works. So tatakas ka. So para ang objective mo, the number one thing that we should take into consideration if our aim is to be creative, we need to know our end. Ano ba yung goal natin? So, ang goal natin is ma-meet yung barkada natin. That's the end. Now, I can only achieve the end if I'm going to consider the means. So, since I wasn't allowed to go out, I need to consider the means. Kasi kung magpapaalam ako sa nanay ko, hindi naman ako papayagan. Sa tatay ko kaya magpaalam ako. Pero nasubukan ko nun based from my previous experiences. Nagpaalam ako sa nanay ko, nagpaalam ako sa tatay ko, nagpaalam ako sa kuya ko, hindi ako pinayagan. So, the next time I'm going to encounter the same situation, ang gagawin ko na lang, tatakas na lang ako. Kasi at least, na-meet ko yung end ko. Ang end ko is to meet my barkada, my friends. Tatakas na lang ako, pero magpapaalam na lang ako pag nandun na. So, this is an example of creativity. Now, ang question, this type of situation, what element is present here? Is it fluency, elaboration, flexibility, or originality?